Fourth battle where I'm using a random number generator to determine which faction I'll be using. This time I got 28 and that is Tylis. So I picked Tylis and my opponent, Original Zero, picked Athens. The map is Gadara, which is a pretty cool map I think, with a central hill that is a bit closer to my enemy's lines in this case, so it will be easier for my opponent to move up on the hill. But there are some nice ridges, valleys, forests. A lot of things can happen here. So my build consists of, I decided to try something different. 6 raiding horsemen. These guys are light missile cavalry, so they are extremely fast, they are good skirmishers, but they also have a melee attack of 38, which is very good, weapon damage 34, which is decent, a charge bonus of 25, which also is decent for missile cavalry, and a melee defense of 38. With 45 armor, these guys are very decent in melee, as you will see. They don't do well against dedicated melee troops, but against skirmishers they are very, very nice. So, Tribal Warriors, not the unit that's able to get the most kills, but in Shield Wall these guys can tank for quite some time. They have low melee attack, but very good melee defense and armor, so these are the tanks of the build. Spear Warriors, just to babysit these Celtic skirmishers for a bit. And Oathsworn General. Now I can't see my opponent's entire build, so we'll wait until I can. Now I'm going to send the horsemen around the flanks to start trolling. Also, on this map it's important to scout, because you can hide a lot of nasty units here, and in these forests. So I'm going to see that my opponent isn't doing anything sneaky. Just move slightly up. I don't want to engage too quickly when I have these horse skirmishers, because I want to give my horse skirmishers time to actually skirmish. So here I can see his general, which is a big and juicy target. Hippeus Lancer doesn't have shields, so I'm going to send my raiding horse down to see if I can provoke a reaction from my opponent here. It's going to be downhill as well, so any missiles are going to be more effective. Nothing over here. And here I am considering just charging into these mercenary Rhodians to finish them off quickly, but I decide against it and I start pulling back at the last second because I don't want to overcommit. I could potentially lose all of these units if I committed to that engagement. So instead I'm just going to pull away and keep firing at his Hippeus Lancers. So I lost a few guys in that engagement, didn't really kill anything, but it was fun to fun to troll a bit. I lost quite a few men, about 20 horses actually, and he only lost 3 guys on his Hippeus and none on his well, 1 Rhodian Slinger died, so not the best engagement for me, but yeah, well. Here I'm able to hide 2 of these raiders, but it's not going to last for long because I'm going to send them forward to troll the citizen cavalry. I'm trying to micro 2 flanks at once, which is working fairly well with this debug cavalry. Citizen cavalry is going to get shot at for a bit, and this is from the rear, so they'll take some damage. There we go. Sending these guys around to troll for a bit as well. And now I'm slowly moving my lines up to meet my opponent. And my opponent is sending forward his skirmishers, which is what I want him to do, because I want to engage them with these Celtic skirmishers. Now my opponent is also moving forward with his infantry. I'm going just first to keep pushing my Celtic skirmishers forward. Run the cavalry around to guard this flank from cavalry attacks. And I'll just be patient and wait. Now I'm sending my own skirmishers forward to get a volley or 2 off, and they just get the volley off before they have to retreat. They just manage to retreat, and while these guys are focused on my skirmishers, I'm able to countercharge myself into these Thorax Hoplites and the other various units. Thorax Hoplites. So I'm going to go over my opponent's build at the end because this got too messy too fast. Well, actually I can just pause it because you can see my opponent's entire army now. My opponent has 4 Thorax Swords, 4 Thorax Hoplites, so fairly strong infantry corps, a Militia Hoplite here, and then he has 3 Mercenary Cretan Archers, 2 Rhodian Slingers, so strong infantry component, fairly strong cavalry component, and a very strong skirmishing component. So I might get shot to death there. I'm charging in my tribals, and after they have been in combat for about 30 seconds, I'm going to activate Shield Wall on them to make them last a bit longer. There we go. Sending my Oathsworn in, they're going to be able to deal with these Thorax Swords very easily. And here I'm sending in my Raiding Horsemen. I was going for these guys, but I was intercepted. But that's the nice thing about having 2 cavalry flanks. Now I'm able to run straight into these guys on a post, stopping these guys with my spears. And all of these delicious units are going to be ripe bait for my Raiding Horsemen. So you can see the mercenary Rhodian slingers, they aren't dropping as quickly as they would if I was using a shock cavalry unit, but my opponent is trying to get into my skirmishers here, but since he only sent 1 unit, this was at full strength, it's going to get decimated by these javelins. I turned skirmish mode off, and I'm just going to keep pouring fire into them. So already some slingers are starting to waver. I have lost some of my horse, but nothing major, because I managed to stop the most important units. And I was able to pull away as he pulled out his general, and now I'm just going to sandwich his skirmishers between 6 units of raiding horse here. And in the melee engagement, I'm doing fairly well. His general is going to take a right beating for all of these skirmishers, so it's really a good idea to send lone horse units against lone cavalry against multiple skirmishing units that are spread out, because they most likely will be able to shoot the horse unit to death. So he's losing his general here, he's losing all of his skirmishers, and when his skirmishers are gone and his cavalry is gone, then I am in a position to rear charge his entire engaged infantry line and send in my skirmishers to do some damage. So not looking too good for my opponent here. Tribal warriors are not doing exceptionally well, but they are holding nicely. So I haven't really lost anything. I've lost some raiding horse, but that's about it. And my opponent concedes defeat. So let's have a look at the kills here. 801 kills. This could have gone on for quite some time, but the raiding horse did reasonably well for the short amount of time that this battle lasted. My tribal warriors did okay. Did fairly good against these Thorax Hoplites and these Thorax Swords. I think they got the better charges out of the bunch. And these guys, well, they killed the general and killed the citizen cavalry unit and baited some of these units. So they did their job. But Tylis is kind of a gimped faction, but I'm starting to kind of like them, and I'm glad that the random number generator picked Tylis here, because I certainly wouldn't have picked that myself. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the battlefield.